Hello and welcome to Algebra 2, Chapter 10.7, and today we're going to discuss solving quadratic systems. So today we're talking about quadratic systems, and the only difference between a quadratic system and the systems we've talked about previously is that previously they've only dealt with lines, and so a quadratic system is at least one of the equations is going to be a quadratic. And you can still solve them your three ways of solving a system. You can solve them graphically, substitution, or elimination, which is linear combination. And so I've put a graph here so that we can get kind of an idea of where they cross. But remember, graphically is not always the best. But, real quick, I'm just going to graph this one. We're going to start at 3, down 1, over 1. Okay, up 1, back 1. So I have this line. So this other equation is a circle. And it's a circle with radius the square root of 5. So not super handy. Remembering that's r squared. So r is the square root of 5, which is 2.24. So if I come out, and it's centered at 0, 0. So if I come out 2.24 up 2.24, right, something like that. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure where it crosses. The only great thing about graphing is that it really gives you an idea of, so how many times do these cross? So these are going to cross twice. Okay, so I'm looking for something up here, something down here-ish. With a circle and a line, you could have them cross once, or you could have them never cross. And so the nice thing is that we now at least know we're looking for it crosses twice. Just where is it cross? So let's do this one with substitution. And so since we've solved for y here, let's just substitute it in for y up here. So x squared plus y, which is now negative x plus 3 squared, equals 5. And if we have a binomial squared, that means we're going to FOIL. So that is negative x plus 3 times negative x plus 3. So we're looking at plus x squared minus 3x plus 9 equals 5. So 2x squared minus 6x plus 9 equals 5. And it's a quadratic. So I'm going to go ahead and make it equal to 0. 2x squared minus 6x plus 4 equals 0. And tell you what, make it even easier, divide the entire thing by 2. So x squared minus 3x plus 2 equals 0. Alright, so from here, remembering you can solve it by factoring, quadratic formula, completing the square. I think I'm going to factor this. It looks like it factors into minus 2 minus 1. And if I set both factors equal to 0, and solve those, I know that x is 2 and 1. So those are my x's. I now need the y's that are associated with those. So if I come back up here to my y equals equation, y equals negative 2 plus 3, so that is y equals 1, and y equals negative 1 plus 3, which is y equals 2. Okay, so what does this give us? So before we get too into this and get lost, is when x was 2, so when x is 2, y was 1, there's one point where they intersect. And when x was 1, y was 2. That just happens that they're opposites like that. Those are the 2 points where my circle and line intersect. So that is solving using substitution. So our next one here, let's look. This first one I believe is a circle, and this other one is going to be a parabola because you only have one variable that's squared. And really looking, you could have a circle and a parabola that never intersect, or you could have them so that they intersect twice, or you could somehow affix it, there's different places, but so that it would intersect once. And if you want to go ahead and graph these, I think it's an excellent idea. I left the graph off of this one, and I'm going to try to do linear combination or elimination with this. And so if I'm going to write this, x squared plus y squared, I'm going to skip a little bit, minus 64 equals 0. Remembering that the main thing from elimination is that you want everything lined up. Okay? And what I'm going to try to eliminate are my x squareds, because that would just leave me with y's. And you don't really always want to do elimination, but in this case, if I can eliminate those x squareds, I'm just going to have those y's left, and then that would be great. Alright, so negative 2x squared minus 2y squared plus 128 equals 0. And 2x squared plus y minus 8 equals 0. And we're going to add these together. Our x squareds cancel. Negative 2y squared plus y plus 120 equals 0. So there we go. We have one equation now just with y in it, and it's a quadratic. I'm going to try to factor this, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide by negative 1 to make this a positive, a negative, a negative. You don't want to factor with a leading coefficient that's negative. And it's going to be 2y and y. And I need factors of 120. Alright, and I tried a few things, and I think 8 and 15 is going to work. And if I put the 8 over here and the 15 over here, that's going to give me a 16 and a 15, and I want a negative 1, so I'm going to have a negative 16, positive 15, and that should work. So, setting both those equal to 0, we're going to have y equals negative 15 halves and positive 8. And then we want to find the x's that go with those. I'm going, let's see, well, see if we can scrunch this in here. Where do you want to solve for x's is the first question. Tell you what, let's take those, and I'm going to start a new page here. Okay, let me write down my system again. And so we can put our x's, or our y's, sorry, into either one of these. So right now we know y equals negative 15 halves and 8. And we have to solve for x. So I would use this one maybe. And I would actually solve it for x first. So 2x squared equals, I'm going to move y and 8 to the other side and divide by 2. So I'm going to have x squared equals negative y plus 8 divided by 2. And we'll leave it like that. So let's put in negative 15 halves, well that's going to turn positive because it's a negative there, plus 8 divided by 2. And I'm just going to use my calculator. 15 halves plus 8 divided by 2 is 31 fourths. And that is x squared. So when I square root it, keeping in mind that I'm going to have to add plus or minus, and we'll just change it to a decimal, 2.784. Now what that equates to is that 2.784 negative 15 halves is a point where they cross. Negative 2.784 negative 15 halves is a point where they cross. Because there's two x's here and they both cross at that y value. Okay, so there's 2 points. And then we need to put in 8. So x squared equals negative 8 plus 8 divided by 2. Well, that's going to be 0 divided by 2, which is 0. If you square root it, you're still getting 0. So our third point is 0, 8. So these happen to cross at 3 points, which, if we graphed it, in this case, our parabola actually opens this way, and then we get something that looks kind of like that. So you get a point here, that's why they share the same, the same opposite y. Never mind. I'm graphing the wrong one. But you get something like that and something like that. There you go. All right. One more. So we've talked about one with substitution and one with elimination. I want you to go ahead, pause the video, see if you could determine how you want to solve this. My suggestion I think is elimination. But decide what you want to do, see if you can solve it, get your answers, and then press play and we'll see if our answers match. So I got that these two equations intersect 3 times. I did elimination because I saw that those x squareds were going to cancel if you just added them together, and then you just are left with y's. Solving for y, you get y is 6 and 10. And then I plugged it back into the first equation, which I solved for x squared. And plugging in 6, I got 0, so that was 1 point. And plugging in 10, I got plus or minus 8, which was the other 2 points, so they crossed 3 points. All right, that is what I have for 10-7. Let me know if you have any questions, and if not, I will see you in class. Have a great day.